Valley with Love podcast. I'm your host, George Wacker. This is the third of our Venture X Future of the Workforce in the Lehigh Valley series. We're talking with attorney Briana Gaumer today. She is a Lehigh University double major grad, and she has a very interesting story in that not only is she a lawyer who has a practice that focuses almost exclusively on family law matters such as divorce, custody, and support, as well as estate planning, which we go into, but she's also a established and accomplished softball player in her college days and probably today. And we get into how she moved from the East Coast to the West Coast and came back to the East Coast and all that fun stuff. This has been a pleasure to talk with not only her, but my other two guests from Venture X. Learn more about them. Find out about our sponsors in the show notes as well. I want to thank Michael Bernardin with Remax Insurance and Molly's on the south side of Bethlehem, as well as Venture X. So let's get into talking to attorney Briana Gaumer. Briana, I have a problem. Before we talked, you were very clear that Yakos was better than Pots, which is, and it's easy to say that, and we'll fight about it on Twitter and stuff all the time, but I need like an explanation from you. Give me why. Okay. I mean, I'm from the Allentown, Emmaus area. I have bigger access to Yakos, but also like when you see it rotating on there and it's shriveled and then you get the sauce, that's what I'm looking for. So you think like that's an appealing... Yes, controversial, I know. Have you had a Pots hot dog? I have. And you don't think, so like with the Pots hot dogs, people aren't familiar, you have the cheese on the bottom, which is really good, and then clearly the Burke's hot dog is wonderful. Their ingredients are fresh. Are you pitching for Pots? They can pay me in hot dogs, I don't care. I'm just, the mindset of people picking Yakos over Pots. It's not logical, no. You grow up being told that you have to like it more than the other. It's like Lehigh Loft, you know. I'm not picking on Yakos. I would eat a Yakos hot dog all day, every day. I think it's fascinating that we have these arguments, and we can. And it's not just Yakos and Pots. There's like Jimmy's, and there's all these, Willie Joe's, and all these different hot dogs in the Lehigh Valley. So, going on the record that Pots is better. But I'm still okay that you're a Yakos person. I like the commitment to it. Yeah. But Yakos, is there still one in Emmaus? There is. There is still one in Emmaus where you went to high school for at least a little bit, because this is an interesting story. That's right. You're a big softball star. Sure. Come on. Big enough that you traveled from Emmaus to go to California to position yourself to compete a little better. Can you talk about like how that all happened? Because my daughter is 5, and it's just amazing to me to think like a high school student who you must have been 15, 14, to say you're good enough that the family is going to go to California. So what? Right. I don't know what that says about my parents, but I'm forever indebted to them for that. They took a risk. We took, a big risk. But here, competitive softball only gets to kind of a certain level. And I wanted to play Division I, UCLA, be in the Olympics, the whole thing. And they said, okay, we see potential, and we're going to pack up the car and go out to California. Is there a reason why softball is more prevalent or popular in the West? I never even thought of that. Right. You can play all year round. No snow, the biggest hurdles like smog days. But everybody, west of the Mississippi is just a better all-around player. So there was, better opportunities. Somebody heard that and was like, what? Well, well, you should know. I mean, you're a pitcher, correct? That's right. And then where it gets even more interesting is that you competed out there, I'm sure, in a million different things in high school. And then where do you end up? Right back here. Right back here at Lehigh. Then how did that happen? How did you go to Lehigh University from? I initially was like... were your parents like, wait, we just sold the house? Yeah, they stayed out there. They're like, at that point, you're out west. Why did you come back? But no, I got out there, and you don't realize how like East Coast you are maybe until you get out there. Everyone's like, what's the Yakos? Yeah, right? Are you Amish? Like the whole thing. And I just missed home. And I would have never gotten the opportunity to go to Lehigh had I not moved. That's interesting, being recruited, playing softball, getting to go to this incredible school. Had I stayed here, I might not be. You went to What college did you go to? I'm sorry, I didn't even mention
when I went to Lehigh. When I came back to
I'm sorry. I had a brain aneurysm there. Okay. So when you come back from, and you're at Lehigh, how's that experience for you? Like being the hometown girl who's from California, yet still knows maybe the back roads.
I know, right? I could say, Schuylkill and all these things. So no, it was actually really great. There's a lot of girls from the West Coast, so I could, talk to them about living there and all of that. But also I liked being the hometown girl, as well.
And what was your experience? Talk softball a little bit more. What was your experience with softball in Division I? I mean, you're playing against the largest teams in the most competitive teams in the country.
It was a lot. It was a lot of fun, but also just playing at a high level. I think forces you to be a better student, better time management, especially kind of juggling all the other things that come along with the academics here, and it really shaped a competitive spirit that I stuck with. I think.
Well, I mean. I competed in college, not anywhere near the level, but still, I think those things stay with you, how to practice, and camaraderie, motivating yourself, those sort of things.
Yeah, absolutely. Team, again, working in a team, but individually sounds kind of cliche, but it's really true. I'm better for it because of it.
And what I feel bad, we're going to talk about another thing before we get to serious stuff. You mentioned here you worked at Molly's.
Yeah, that's right.
In South Bethlehem, which
Shout
we have a very close relationship with. We work with them. In fact, about 10 years or so ago, we did a prom there. It was an 80s prom. And I found out that you attended, and you were working there at the time.
That's right.
So it's just how small the world is to, that was a one night 10 years ago. It was a fun thing.
Obviously memorable.
Yeah.
No, it was great. That's why I feel very connected to this area and to the Lehigh Valley. I'm very proud of all those experiences. So. Well,
especially too, because, I think it's awesome that you worked at a small business like that. Mm-hmm. And then here we are at, in Venturex in South Bethlehem, and we're talking about, you as a lawyer. Which
that's right. Bartender, lawyer. Sometimes
the same person.
Sure. Well, I know. I say that's kind of where I honed my people skills. Okay. Everybody got a song and a dance with their cocktail, but I
some legal
enjoyed
advice you could.
Not quite, but being approachable, being a down-to-earth person,
sure.
Translate now in my career, especially family law, I have to be good at that and I have to connect. So those things are helpful traits.
And let's get into that. Fun stuff aside, not that this isn't fun, but when I was researching some of your stuff for college, it mentioned that you were an arts and sciences major. That was your freshman year, now with a law degree, and you did go to, I get this wrong, Widener. Right?
Widener School.
Widener Law.
Yep.
Did you change from your freshman year to your senior year, or was it? Talk about that if you
Sure. Can. So at Lehigh, I initially majored in political science, part of arts and sciences, and I did that. Focused all my classes towards that until about senior year. Then I decided why not do another major, and that's where I did religion.
Okay.
Which is again interesting. There's no
sure.
pre-law program. I guess during my time at Lehigh.
Okay.
So you have to kind of create your own. What I say is, politics, political science, religion, you learn a lot about people.
Sure.
And so kind of taking those two things again, learning what makes people tick, what they're really invested in, just helps translate into, my practice of law.
And what was the decision then? Because, people should know that. I guess I know that. You don't go to, you go to law school with different, you can have a history degree and go to law school.
Oh, yeah, you could go to law school with, underwater basket weaving, but.
Can you?
Sure, I'm sure it's been done.
How is that, when did you make the decision, I want to go to law? That's a very serious, did you always want to work in law? Was it something that you were exposed to at Lehigh?
Not necessarily. So probably I didn't know until senior year. Mm-hmm. And that's when, you have to study for the LSAT. You have to kind of make preparations to do this. But I didn't know where my need for advocacy and empathy and connecting with people, I didn't know where that fit quite yet. And, along the way, I thought, I think I have to talk for a living. I have to talk to people and help them and be competitive. Wow, it was kind of, the perfect career path for me.
And do you go to Widener and then think, then again, do you have to hone down to family law? Does it come in when you first go there and it's just general? Like, I don't know the process of that.
Sure. It's probably different for everybody.
Sure.
But going into it, you can think, do I want to be maybe criminal or civil
Sure.
or things like that? Civil is considered family law, on that civil side of things. I think I knew early on that I wanted to do something like that. But I didn't, close any doors. I interned at the DA's office. I tried to, see if what I was really going towards. But I interned at the family law clinic, and that was really kind of it for me.
And what was it about this type of law, maybe compared to what you just said, like with the DA's office? What is more appealing for you?
I think the ability to be more creative, to give maybe advice that's not always legal, or there's areas of the law that I practice that I don't want to say are gray, but you can, make certain decisions, and you're not kind of stuck in a box or.
Okay.
It's not very transactional. I connect with people every day, and some of the things we come up with are just, strategy, or let me talk you through this, but trying to make their life better.
What is, for family law, for somebody like me who knows of it, I think a divorce or maybe custody or something like that. Well, is that, can you kind of expound upon some of the maybe day-to-day or week-to-week types of things that you work on?
Sure. So, family law that I practice encompasses divorce, custody, support, think domestic relations, money. I also do some estate planning and estate administration, also dealing with like families,
Right.
So that's kind of when a party dies and they have to do an estate, all really, now that I think about it, it's like all these very emotional, stressful times.
It's funny because I have this literally in my notes here. I have a question. It's a more emotional type of law.
Absolutely.
And do you feel like in order to practice that, you need to have that sort of, I don't want to say everyone is a human, but that more humanistic type approach. So you being able and wanting to converse and connect with people, do you feel like that helps you?
I think it makes me a better practitioner. I don't know if everybody kind of has that ability or wants to. It takes a thick skin too. But I crave that need to want to help at that deeper level.
Okay.
And some people's perception of a lawyer and what I'm going through can be scary. So, them to open up to me and tell them their, these deep, details and, time of their life where they're kind of giving into, please help. I like to be there on a deeper level, not so much a scary attorney in a stuffy office.
Yeah, because lawyers, we do think lawyers for any reason, especially when like I'm working, anything that deals with that, if you get an email or something, it can only, your first thing is the worst possible thing. If a lawyer is contacting you, it's the worst possible thing. How long have you been with your own, and if you can kind of explain it to me, like with your office, like what is the hierarchy there in your position?
Sure. So where I'm practicing now, Mobilio Wood, we're a small firm in Allentown. I'm a partner, and I actually have my partner here today for moral support.
Yeah.
And we're a small business. We work together, but it's really a business partnership. So I have a lot of autonomy, and we're very kind of creative in our approaches. Like if we need to, pivot or have people come in or make different arrangements for things, like we're open to that. There's not a one size fits all for any client or person who comes in.
Right. So it's not like that law firm that you I'm assuming you have books, you know what I mean, but I'm just like the millions of books.
Right.
So
leather-bound books, many of them.
So but I would imagine in the law that you practice, being able to be more open to people and is going to put them at ease as well, because it's got to be, we're talking about some of the most emotional, bad, besides the death, including the death of a loved one, some of these really emotional points of people's lives, I would imagine that personally you have to learn how to deal with that too.
Yeah, I'd say to learn to shut it on and off.
Right. So, because it's like I'm my 5-year-old daughter now. Like, I feel like I can't even watch movies where there's like kids.
Oh, I know.
And I used to be, I'm a horror movie fan, but if there's a kid in it, nope. And I just can't do it.
Right.
So is that something that you've found too? Like you're learning as you go?
Yeah, absolutely. There's more complex cases than others, and things really, get to me a little bit more than others. But at the end of the day, I have a job to do.
Yeah.
And I kind of look at it like softball. Like I'm a competitor, and I have to put on the game face, and I go into a game or into a courtroom or into a negotiation, and that's what I bring. At home, I strip that off, and
Right. At the end of the day, you still need to perform.
Right.
You know, when you hit the stage or whatever that stage may be, you have to do that. Talking about being a younger professional, you know, a younger lawyer, how do you feel? Perhaps we're in Venture X, you know, we're in Lehigh Valley. You know,
Yes.
you guys have an office in Allentown. How do you feel like COVID has affected those types of things? I'm assuming this, I do not know, but maybe you had to correspond with clients via Zoom and stuff more this year. Has it been different for you as well?
Right. So, I mean, again, kind of a benefit of maybe being, you know, younger and, you know, involved in social media or other kind of avenues. You know, we had to pivot as a firm. You've got to get the capability for Zoom. You've got to be able to learn how to hold a trial by Zoom and do things that, you know, you may not ever have done.
Do they have a primer on it? Like, does a judge give like a crib sheet of how
I really wish. And that's a kind of across the board probably for the practice. But, you know, again, making ourselves available in like creative ways. You know, if we need to do a Zoom call where I'm at home and they're at home, because we didn't stop working during COVID.
Sure.
So all of those things, being able to pivot, you know, make our office available, but, you know, safe too. The spaces like this are great for that, to come in and maybe have a space to go and go back home or things like that.
Also, this is kind of a more asking from your perspective of having peers your age who are young professionals. Do you feel that they are looking at, because I'm 40, you know, so I'm probably, I worked in an office space in that setting for a good decade, you know, where it was, if you're sick, you come into work or you feel bad about it. You know, is that perspective a little bit different now for the generation after mine? I mean, you see that flexibility, but then you're still self-reliant on getting the job done.
Right. I mean, that's, you know, kind of operating a business too. You've got to make those things. But I don't want to say it's because I'm younger or because that's kind of we're a fresher firm.
Okay.
But totally, you know, being able to hear people's needs, especially now, just given different dynamics, what the world is facing. You know, we pride ourselves on being able to give different approaches to how we handle employees coming in, you know, things like that.
And living on the south side, we're on the south side now in Bethlehem. What are as a college student, did you enjoy like having the proximity to things down here? I mean, what was your experience living on the south side?
Yeah, of course. Honestly, it was a ball. And every time I come back, though, it always is changing, and that's good.
Is there new murals going on? Did the sidewalks? Did you see that? I don't know if you noticed it, but like at Adams and Third, they're putting in a mural on the sidewalk.
I mean, I loved, you know, being on the mountain and walking around, and all the businesses. Again, they're ever changing, which is great. I'd love to see that there's still so much, you know, life in here. I feel a little, you know, old going to Tally Ho anymore, but
you join the club. You know what though? I think you reach a point where you become the old guy and you just don't care anymore. Like I'm here. No one's gonna bother me because no one knows I'm in here. Just one question I didn't ask, but I think it's important because somebody like you who went to the West Coast and experienced it for however long that you could, and your parents were still there, why'd you decide to stay I'm assuming you had the opportunity to go anywhere.
Sure.
Why did you decide to stay here?
Yeah, I mean, coming back...
like, I don't know.
No. Blonde didn't work for me. No, I'm just kidding. Coming back, you know, home... this is the place to raise a family. This is the place to, you know, the morals of the East Coast and everything that feels comfortable here.
Sure.
And living and working. I feel very strongly about living in the community that I serve, you know, and knowing the schools, knowing the culture, being able to, you know, reference Yakko's, Potts, you know, Trov's back in the day. And you know, those are also ways I make connections with people. So this is home. It's always been. It's
fun because it is true. When you send me that email, because I always question, I'm like, I'm interviewing a lawyer, but then she, you know, they're so fun, and it's just it's interesting to not to say lawyers aren't, you know,
sure,
but it's just that, you know, sense of
I'm a real
very
person
serious.
too. Yes, I'm a real person too, and that's kind of part of we're trying to shake up the game a little bit and be professional. You know, I'm very good at my job, and I take things very seriously.
Right. And I don't want I don't mean to put that clearly. And I guess that'll lead me to. You know, our last part here, looking forward, and I know like even today you guys are here looking at Venture X and checking it out. You know, are you energetic and excited as we do get out of the pandemic and we're able to get back to whatever the normal is going to be different.
Right.
We're never going back to what it was.
Right.
But do you feel like for you that that's something that you're looking forward to and you're ready to be able to tackle?
Absolutely. Again, people, that's what I do day in and day out, and just seeing them even is just so refreshing.
Right.
And coming into spaces that are beautiful, and people want to get out of their homes, I think, a little bit, and coming to see me isn't always the best maybe circumstance.
Sure,
so if we can doll it up a little and
Right.
feel comfortable, I think that's a great, it's great to pull people back out of that.
And do you still play softball at all?
Okay,
I don't know.
No. I'm glad you asked. Plug for my 10 and under Upper Milford team.
All right.
Coach Bree, got a little sore, but
So you still coach and you're out there?
I
That's
love
fun.
coaching.
That's
I
awesome.
love, and after a hard day's work doing what I do, even though it's like getting home late, I love to throw on the jersey and rush out to third base and still like a suit. And yeah, I have fun doing that.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure
Thank you.
talking to you. And we wish you the best of luck in the future.
Thank you very much.
Thank you again.
Yep.
Another big thank you to Briana Gaumer for coming on. I appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. Sometimes we don't get to talk about the fun Lehigh Valley stuff. It's just been a lot of stress the last year, right? So it's fun to talk about hot dogs and why you like to live here. Big thank you to Venture X. Big thank you to Michael Bernardin with Remax Insurance. Big thank you to Molly's on the south side of Bethlehem. Listen, get in touch with us. Check out our show notes. We're looking for new sponsors. We have a couple new things coming up that we would like to have some people involved with. So once again, my name is George Wacker. This is the Lehigh Valley with Love podcast, and we will catch you next week.
Looking for a bigger home? Find Mike. Looking to downsize? Find Mike. Looking for a home in the Poconos? Find Mike. Looking for your very own bat cave? Find Mike. When looking to navigate the Lehigh Valley real estate market, the first move is to always find Mike Bernardin with Howard Schaefer and Associates of Remax Real Estate. He can help you build the right game plan to achieve all your real estate goals. Whether it be a home with 10 bathrooms, a home with a large garage to park your Tesla or vintage Ford Pinto, or just something perfect for you and your family, finding Mike Bernardin is always the best way to go. So, what are you waiting for? To make all your Lehigh Valley real estate dreams come true, all you have to do is find Mike Bernardin with Howard Schaefer and Associates of Remax Real Estate.